But you never know that you could. And when you feel that way, ain't it good, good dancing in the red and gold. Dancing in the red and gold.
What up, Faithful? Welcome to the 49er Faithful UK Live. As always, I'm your host, Paul Hope. And joining me for today's unscripted episode, where we are going to talk all things 49ers, and I use that term very loosely, it is, of course, joining me to go down many rabbit holes. I've got Lee Gowland and Nadgy.
Now then, did either one of you realise what you were doing when you said, let's just have a free-for-all, let's just talk, whatever comes up, whatever topic? Did you realise where I'm going to go with this show?
No.
No. But...
Good, because I don't know where I'm going to go with this show.
Okay, that's okay.
It's going to be rabbit hole after rabbit hole.
Yeah, but
all over
that's
the
kind of
place.
what we do best. So
that's what I do.
Gareth is not here to. Gareth's not here to reel us back in. So.
Now, to be fair, Nadgy, even though today doesn't have a set topic, I'm sure you've both come prepared, as Lee has alluded to. But before we get into all that and much, much more, smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed and drop a hashtag UK49ers into the chat, because we're trying a few new things over these next coming weeks. Martin Hughes reached out to me. He says he's having some technology problems, easy for me to say. And Nadgy, unscripted, unprepared, as you said, it's what we do best, buddy. So where do we start?
Well, I don't know.
So I think we should talk about the predicted league and how good the winner was last season. I've come prepared. This is the topic.
For goodness sake. Well, I mean, so yeah, we could talk about this. We're obviously gonna do it again because it's a ton of fun. Do you guys feel like we should change the way we do it or not?
You mean the scoring?
Yeah, the scoring.
So, I mean, last season, the first season, it was really, really close.
It was.
And that's because the 49ers was winning.
Yeah.
And I think if we have another winning season like that, I think it's going to be close again, because nobody likes to bet against the 49ers.
Yeah.
Yes, the dirty points did breathe ahead last season, but it did have an impact. But it was still, even though what was it, 17 points from first to last, whereas the first season there was only 3 points from first to last.
Yeah.
I still think it was a close week, or a close season, up until the last maybe week or two. So I'm happy with the scoring, but I'm open to suggestions of how we can make this better.
I just feel, and Paul, you tell me whether you agree or not, I just feel like the 5 point for deciding the winner is maybe a bit too much. Or nailing the score should be higher than that. Because you get 5 points to nail the score, which is really difficult. Yeah. And picking a winner is kind of a coin toss.
So when you say nail the score, you're talking about like nailing each individual score. So if you nail the 49ers score, you'll get 10 instead of 5. If you nail the Cowboys score, you'll get 10 instead of 5.
Maybe not 10, because that's double, but I just...
I was about to say, right, he's us fine gentlemen debating, and the guy who's in charge of the spreadsheet, Kev's like, no, chaps, no.
Let's just go back to this one here. Oh, no. Somebody put a comment in. Sorry, Ty, we'll get back to yours in a second. Where's it at? I've lost it now. There you go.
John Spain. Yeah, there we go.
Let me answer this question. Right, so we normally pick with our heart, unless you drop so far back like I did early on in the season, and you have to do something drastic to try and get back in the lead there. Yeah. It's kind of win or go home. So, yes, we'd kind of do both. If the 49ers are doing well, I think we all pick with our heart, because we think we're going to beat anybody week in, week out. Whereas last season, I think it was more interesting because we were never quite sure which 49er team was going to turn up.
To be fair, Nadgy, I decided to sacrifice retaining the trophy and stick true to my brand. So I picked up my heart. I couldn't do the dirty points, Lee. And
excuses.
I decided, hey, no. I congratulated you on your win. I brought that trophy to you. But when I saw that flash up from John, I thought I definitely pick with my heart, especially like you said,
Yeah,
that
you
first
do.
year.
You did.
It was
Yeah,
very
you did.
easy when the Niners were on the Super Bowl run. Last
Yeah.
year, fair play to you, Lee. You decided you wanted that trophy, so you decided to use your head.
I'm competitive, mate. I'm competitive.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. I mean, we've got time, obviously, till September, so we can decide. I just feel like it would make it closer, and it also would mean that even if you're quite far behind, if by some luck you actually nail both, you're right back in it, or you can even leap over people, which makes it really, really interesting. Because nailing the score is so difficult.
You know what I think we'll do? What'll make it better, especially for the viewers, for
Talk about
everybody on
discretion.
Discord who want to join in on this. I think I'm going to reach out to 49ers and ask them if they could sponsor a prize. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be something really expensive. It could be one of
No, that would be cool.
the old game day giveaway items, a bobblehead or something like that, just so that the others have something to play for as well.
One of
A little
these.
bit more than just the kudos.
Yeah, one of these that we got for free.
To be fair to Nadgy, though, I think what happened was when we decided to kind of up the content that we're creating, when we added the YouTube channel, and we kind of evolved the pod to the Awesome Foursome. And if you cast your mind back, chaps, we used to do bold and then bold predictions, and then we used to be a bit daft. And then I think we decided that we wanted to be a little bit more serious. And then when we threw the prediction league in, I remember Nadgy showing off the trophy. I thought that is a good touch. And it hooked people in because this year's competition wasn't just us four competing against each other. It was the Discord community as well. So I think it's right to have that conversation again, Nadgy, about how can we make it better for this
I think ultimately what I want really is make it as fun as possible so we can get as many people playing as possible, because it's just engaging, it's just a bit of fun, but it's also, it makes you look at the game in a slightly different way. And I think we've talked about this, Paul, but us doing this podcast and this live now, it's made us look at the game in such a different way that I used to watch on Sunday, where you kind of, I don't know, it's more analytical and it's more like that. And then when we're playing the game, it's kind of the same. You're like, oh, how many points can we score? What kind of defense are we playing? Who's on form on offense and who's going to score points? Is Brock on his game? What, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, it's just kind of interesting, and it's kind of bringing what we've learned doing this podcast to the people and saying like, hey, look at this game a slightly different way. It's not just, let's watch the Niners win or not. It's, let's try and analyze how many points do you think you're going to score, we're going to score. How many points do you think our defense is going to pass it? I don't know. It's really cool. I like it. And it's fun and it's bragging rights and all that. I mean, Anthony last year just destroyed everyone. Which we'll see if we can do that next year. But it's just, it's part of building this community that we have. So it's cool. But yeah, we can decide. Let us know, everybody that's played on Discord. Let us know if you feel like maybe we could change the points in one way or another, that make it more fun or not. I'm sorry, Kev, if you're going to have to change your formulas. I'm sure it's not going to be too hard. But yeah. We'll see. We'll definitely play it because it's a ton of
if you think of what we did with the pod, so we moved away from being the kind of rah, just talk about the Niners, and we evolved into scouting the opposition team. We looked at the offense, we looked at the defense, and we say unscripted. As we've said many a time, Lee, this is a hobby. We've all got full-time jobs. We've all got families. So sometimes when we do turn up to do the pod, we haven't had time to prep, and we certainly don't share our scores because Lee isn't the only one that's competitive. We're all competitive. And sometimes you sat at home and you think, right, Gareth will go, right, Lee, what's your score this week? And you think, how did he know I was going to pick that score? And we try and tweak it. And it has added that dynamic because people were tuning into the pod to listen to our thoughts, especially from a UK perspective about seeing football. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is fair to say. And I think you make a good point there about the fact we don't know what each other's scores are. And I know there was times last season where somebody else was going so early on in the season when I was dwindling at the back there, so I was going last. One of you would pick the score that I was going to go for,
and then you have to change on the fly.
It would make us change my score, not because I didn't think it was going to be that score, because I was thinking tactically. I need to make sure I get more points than you. So I was looking, how can I do this best where I'm safe if I get this wrong, and I'm well out in front if I get it right.
Yeah.
So I was looking for that balance between risk and reward.
We should probably explain for the people that are here and watching us right now that aren't on Discord, aren't playing, but we do. So during the pod, during the season, when we do the preview, we do a prediction. We try and predict the score of Niners and our opponent. And so the way we've been scoring is if you get bang on, you get 5 points. If you're within 3, you get 3 points. 2 points. 2 points. And if you get the winner right, then you get an extra 5 points. So you can get a maximum of 15 points, and then we tabulate over every week until the Niners stop playing, and then whoever's got the most point wins. So yeah, that's what we've been doing. For the people that maybe join us or haven't played or aren't on Discord and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's what we've been doing.
You know what? I'm going to absolutely destroy Kev Williams' night now. I think what we should do, because obviously there's always the 49er games that we're doing this on.
Yes.
Obviously, there's the strength of schedule that comes out. And they generally publish that just before the start of the season because it's the thing that everybody talks about. We do have the lowest strength of schedule. We've got the easiest schedule. But what I think we should have is a multiplier.
Oh,
a multiplier on the strength of schedule. So the harder the game, the more points you get. And I think you should base it off that strength of schedule.
On that thought,
I mean, that's rough.
Kev has put in there.
Kev can do it.
So Kev has put there, if there were any changes, he says he'd make the points less so it can be closer. Or throw in a bonus each week, which Gareth has talked about previously.
We did talk about this. We did talk about jazzing it up and maybe potentially using the wheel. So we could have a bunch of categories and then we spin the wheel, and then this week it's how many fumbles or how many interceptions or how many, defense touchdown or that kind of stuff. Yeah, that would be fun. If you nail that, you can get some extra points. That would be pretty fun.
So you talk about being competitively. I think if we looked at how many times you entered that Excel spreadsheet on a game day at stupid o'clock in the morning and then updated our group chat with what the points were, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, message from Howlands laughing because someone scored.
It was near real time.
Real time changing. Yeah, we could follow the scrolls.
I know we talked off air about not mentioning English Football League, but we're joined in the chat by Jasmine, who's downstairs, laughing her head off now. And her friend Jessie played for Leeds United Girls Foundation team, and they won a trophy at the weekend. So she's downstairs. They've just messaged me to say, can we say hello? So there we go. I've said hello. You've had your moment of fame.
Congrats.
So,
I mean, we would be amiss. I know I'm going to make a lot of enemies here, but congratulations to Liverpool for winning the stupidest league in the world.
No.
Did Martin Hughes text you, especially for that, Nadgy? Are we doing requests tonight?
Loads of text. So, I'm getting threats now. Oh dear.
So let's move away from the predictor league. I've got a question for you. So it's been It's been almost 2 weeks now since the draft. In fact, it's 2 weeks tomorrow since the draft. Have any of you actually looked up some of the players that we signed as undrafted free agents?
No, I was going to wait for rookie minicamp and all that just to see who actually goes through, because there's a lot of these people that might not even, we're just going to cut and re-sign all the invitees and all that. So until we get to the weeds and actual training camp, there's not much point really. Why? Have you?
Yeah, well, I do it every year. I mean, as soon as we sign players, I start and do the same thing as I do on the lead up to the draft, straight to YouTube, the player's name in, and then highlights, and then start watching that. And there's one guy that kind of stood out a little bit, and I don't know if it's because he played in a weaker division. So I think his first 3 seasons he played for South Carolina, and then he finished his last season playing for Mississippi State, and it was a linebacker called Stone Blanton, and he looked excellent. His tackling was absolutely amazing. He was quick. He could read the quarterback's eyes. He was making plays. He looked really good as a special team player as well. So potentially that's why we've brought him in. But as a linebacker, he did look good. He's 6'2". He's
Lee,
got a hell of a build on him.
Have you watched his interview with John Chapman then? Is that where you're going? because you're talking about watching these
No.
players. So John Chapman,
So John
just
Chapman
interviewed him.
has he?
Yeah, so he's retweeted
I
it
know
about
he
an hour
interviewed
ago.
Nick Martin.
CJ West, and now he's undrafted free agent linebacker Stone Blayton. So that's going to be one for you to check out. So to answer Lee's question a different way, Nadgy, I've been plugged into all the content creators. I've been focusing on some of the stuff that they've been putting out. But John Chapman, good friend of the show, hasn't just been filling his off season with prediction leagues and meetups. He's actually been interviewing some of the players that the Nines have drafted. So I just thought you were going to go down that road, Lee. When you mentioned Stone Blayton, I thought, have you been watching John Chapman? So he's literally just tweeted it out.
Didn't.
So there you go.
So I missed that. So I saw the one advertised with Nick Martin. All right, I'll have to watch that to see what he thinks of him.
So CJ West,
he's not really going to say what he thinks of him because he's interviewed him.
No, but CJ
I mean,
West,
if he thinks he's rubbish, he's not going to say, "Well, Stone, I've watched your tape, and to be honest, I don't think you've got it. I think you're a bit rubbish, really." But I'll watch it anyway to see how Stone comes across. But yeah, if you just stick into YouTube, Stone Blanton highlights, and he looks a really useful pick, and it could be one of these where, you know, we have a really good track record of picking up an undrafted free agent who turns out to be a bloody good player.
Yeah, it's possible.
So,
what's interesting with these kind of guys usually post draft is trying to find out why they didn't get drafted, because I think that's a big tell of what they can do. And sometimes it's nothing. You know, sometimes it's stupid stuff like I don't know. It could be anything really. But you say he played in a poor division. He played in the ACC. It's kind of the best division in college, technically. I think it's not as much nowadays, especially last year. But that's a tough division to play. There's some very good defenses in there. So, and he 124 tackle last year. That's in 12 games. That's pretty good.
Yeah, you talk about
which makes you wonder, like you said, Nadgy, why didn't he get picked? Because
maybe
what I saw, he looked really good.
Yeah, it could be stuff like, his hands are like, it'd be like Kenny Pickett. It's like, his hands are a bit too small, or his arms are a bit not long enough, and he's gonna get bullied and stuff like. Yeah, okay, but if he's a good football player, who cares? Like, he'll overcome it, find a way to.
Well, to be honest, I mean, all the plays he was making was against the run.
Yeah, right.
So
maybe
against the run.
terrible in coverage.
I mean, when they were when they were throwing out to the flat, he tended to be able to get over there because he covers ground so quick and made the tackle. But other than that, it was generally runs. I didn't really see much as far as coverage was concerned. Maybe he's two players in the whole highlight reel, so maybe his coverage skills aren't that great. But then again, you need a good balance with your linebackers. You need somebody who's good in coverage and somebody who's good against the run.
Yeah.
John Lynch was on. I mentioned to you guys off air. He was on with Chris Sims, and he talked about how you evaluate players and how a couple of years ago players transferring was a red flag. But since Nil has came in and all the money, and you talked about how some of these undrafted free agents, Lynch said a couple of years ago you could pick up the phone, say we'll offer you 250,000 to an undrafted free agent. Now they're like, I was earning 4 million last year for Texas. 250,000 is nothing. And it was things like that. So if you haven't watched that, give it a cheeky plug. So John Lynch was on for about 45 minutes with Chris Sims, talked about how him and Shanahan developed, what the Niners are looking for. He talked about the draft process the last couple of years. It was interesting, Nadgy, that he said that the last few years they've looked for basically backups and specialist players. He kind of admitted that they were quite happy with the current roster, and a few of the content creators have taken that and ran with it. But I'm guessing you guys haven't seen that podcast yet, so I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole just yet.
Yeah, I mean, I just had a look at his game log. Mississippi State clearly wasn't very good last year. I think they won 2 games. So, maybe he just shone through a terrible... Maybe he was playing on a terrible defense with a terrible DC, and you just kind of like got hidden away. But somebody who wanted to scout might have seen him, might have seen something they like. And they can't... there's so many players out coming through and making it to the draft. It's kind of interesting, and it just proves how hard it is to make it to the NFL and just even get drafted. Even in the 5th, like Shadow Sanders, it's incredible achievement to do so. So it might turn out the steal of the draft, and you just don't know. So did we get UDFA? Yeah. So it's just a couple of years contract, 1 year contract or whatever. Yeah, that's the problem having new DFAs. If the guy turns out to be good, we're gonna have to give him a contract next year, which is
Yeah.
damn it, that's a lot of money all of a sudden. But yeah, we'll see. I'll keep an eye on him for sure. Training camp.
I think the Niners said they had a grade on possibly 200 draftable players, and like you said,
That's
eventually
right,
where
yeah.
the draft
200
can
players.
kind of fall. And he did say on Chris Sims that if our first choice pick at number 11 wasn't there this year, they would have gone with an offensive player. That was the player they wanted on the defensive side of the ball. And if he wasn't there, they were going to go for offense. And they were worried the Saints were going to take him at 9. So he admitted that there was conversations about jumping up in the trade. And
Yeah,
obviously,
it sounds like. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we've all watched the Hey Rook video and the calls and all that, but it tells him right away. We tried to trade up to get Michael Williams, which I think says a lot. I'm really excited about him. There's a lot of people. I've read a few articles since, kind of all over the place, ESPN and Athletics. He's quite high up on DPOI potential. I think people think he's going to do really well. I think obviously it's the defense is going to play in and opposite Bosa and all that kind of thing. That factors a lot in. But I'm super excited. I know you guys feel about our draft in general, but now that the dust has settled and we've actually had grades and people and we've signed a swing tackle, guard slash tackle, just a couple of days after. I feel really good about this draft. Kind of feel like, what draft was it that we got? Kinlaw. I know Kinlaw didn't pan out, but we were in that mode where we just beast on D line and we just kept on adding and kept on getting good and kept on getting better and better. I know that didn't work out, but at that draft, at that moment when we got Kinlaw and then Ayuk, I feel like that right now. I feel like the vibe and the energy is pretty much there, and we're gonna bully people. It's just gonna be a joy to watch. I can't wait for this season.
do you think
See
we're going
how
to
defense
stick
fly.
to the wide 9? Do you think the
Yeah.
fact that Williams has come in, Nadgy? Because a lot of people wanted to move away from that last year, and I think if you
That's
look,
what Saudi does. I don't see why. I don't see why we would go away from that. That's
because there was an article I read in the Athletic which said Bosa is the best speed to power rusher in the NFL, and that's one of Williams' best traits. And we've always talked about that bookend opposite Bosa, like you said, the defensive players and also those vibes you talk about. Nadgy Lynch talked about 99% of the roster have come back for the voluntary workouts. He's saying that they like and the fact that they could be the hunter rather than the hunted this year, because obviously Lee, you mentioned the easy schedule, which is what a few people mentioned when I dropped my post in the group today, asking where the UK faithful's expectations are. But no, to answer your question, Nadgy, I'm very excited after this draft. I've been on YouTube, I've watched the highlights. I haven't analysed game tape like some of the content creators because I haven't got the time, Lee. But I have gone and watched the highlights and read the articles and obviously done some of my homework. Are you feeling confident, Lee? Are you?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I'm really looking forward to watching Collins and West play because I think the pair of them is going to start.
Yeah,
in fact, I think we're going to have 3 rookies on the defensive line starting game in, game out. I'm really
awesome
excited about this. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I mean, potentially you might even be looking at a 4th rookie on defense starting with Nick Martin, potentially.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see how he turns out.
I think he beats Winters in camp, to be fair. I think Winters goes to number 3. And I think Martins goes to number 2.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's early. It's early for prediction, but I'm just going off that. He seems to be like the kind of linebacker Salah likes. He's undersized. He's got that elite athleticism, and just at the moment, it is me.
D. Winters didn't get drafted by Salah, so whether he's going to fall behind in terms of the guy that he wants or the things that he wants him to do, we'll see. But I think D. Winters is probably good enough to at least compete and be on the field. He's shown me enough last year.
I don't want to get rid of him. I just think looking at the pecking order at the moment, obviously.
I agree.
Obviously, Martin there, and then Winters, and also it's not bad for special teams, is it? Having someone like Winters.
100%. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's the part of the team that I'm looking the most forward to, just because the amount of work we've put into it in terms of hiring a coach that's been doing that for years, and it seems that we've signed a bunch of players specifically to play on the special team. I'm just excited to see what we do and actually contribute on that side of the ball and make it
Oh yeah, so that was
it always
Leanne.
is. Yeah,
so Leanne's putting there. Good evening, gents. The off season's dragging for sure. Well, it is, and it isn't. I mean, last week, Nadgy, me and Lee were able to talk about George Kittle signing a contract extension in April. Obviously, when we were putting together this show, everybody on Monday, the three of us didn't have a topic, and we were debating whether to open it up to you, fine people. And I did think, could Brock sign before we decided? That would have been.
I mean, he's going to sign like as soon as we hang up, isn't he? Because that's what happens with us. But
did you see the interview with Larry Kruger and Baldy?
I've seen bits of it. I haven't seen all of it.
They were talking about Brock's contract. And Baldy turned around and said, he's worth every penny. If he's going to get 53 million a year, he's worth every penny of it. Yes, he had a down year last year, but he lost all of his running backs. And once you lose all your running backs, people talk about quarterback elevating the players around him. It's all well and good saying that, but when you've lost such a pivotal piece as your running back, everybody knows what you're going to do. So it makes it incredibly difficult to do that. So it's no wonder that he regressed ever so slightly last year and probably didn't look like the quarterback he was the 2 years prior to that. But he says he's still worth that money because you can see he is the type of quarterback that if he has at least some of his pieces on the field in different positions, then he can make plays.
Yeah, I mean, you say running back, but he lost his favorite target like week 2 or 3. It's just that's very difficult to overcome. And obviously Debo just decided to not catch the ball sometimes. So I mean, it wasn't a particularly fun year for Brock, I'm sure. I thought he played pretty well, all in all. But it'd be worth any penny. The question that I had, because I saw the Kittle contract, and I saw the numbers, and I was just like, they must know roughly where we are, because if they're able to spend that much money, or say to George, hey, this is how much we can offer you. They must know roughly where we are with Brock's contract, the ballpark. We must be pretty close, I think.
Well, Lynch did say to Chris Sims, he said they're having some good conversations. He said, we hope it gets done sooner rather than later. And then he said, hope isn't a good strategy, which I agree. Hope isn't a good strategy. We should take more notice of that on this show. But all jokes aside, Kittle signed his last extension in August. So the fact that we've got that done in April, and obviously Brock has turned up for these workouts. Obviously, there's no noise coming out of camp. There's no scrubbing on social media. There's no diva-like behaviour. Now, take of that what you want. Some wide receivers went down that road last year. We're not seeing any of that. And also, to kind of go back on what we're just saying, isn't it going to be good when we do the podcast in the season, we talk about the defense and Salah and how good this defense is, rather than kind of having not to talk about that side of the ball we did last year.
I mean, I'm looking forward to just the first, Salah on the sideline jumping up and down. I missed that big time. I think when he left, obviously Demenko came and wasn't quite there at first, but then he came in and we're like, yes, this is what and then that went away.
Yeah, I think it makes a hell of a difference having somebody with that type of energy on the sideline.
100%.
Not just to the players on the field, but to the fans watching the game at home. I mean, like you've just said, Nadgy, it makes a hell of a difference to me. When I see him fired up on the sidelines, that gets me fired up for the full game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think the first time we see Salah do that, I think we're going to see Williams kind of on a running start and an offensive guard. He's going to plant him in the ground and he's going to sack that quarterback. And then we're all going to be like, Defensive Player of the Year, Game 1, Super Bowl, Discord's going to go mental. And, that's what we do on this show.
Yeah, but I think we should make a rule up. Every time Salah loses his shit on the sideline, we all have to do 5-ball shot.
So Ty Alston in the chat tonight, not only has he dropped that one there, Nadgy, about him being more mellow, he's also circled back to the Brock conversation.
He's right, though. He's right.
So,
he wasn't consistent. And Brock said it himself, and he took it on the chin the whole season, saying it should play better, which, that's what our quarterback should be doing. So, I agree. There's no way Salah is more mellow. Come on. There's no way.
It's not,
We'll see.
Yeah, I think that mellowness comes from probably the situation he was in at the Jets. Because he was under a lot more stress there. There was a lot more pressure on him. And I think there was a lot more
it's a different
expectation to the way he acts.
Yeah, it's a different vibe as well. And New York is notoriously harder to live in and be around, like the media and all that.
Yeah.
The whole press around football is kind of a little more crazy than what we have to deal with, even though, we've got some passionate people around. And your head coach is totally different vibe.
So before we answer John's question, Ty Alston, the Jets wear everyone down. So Salah's a bit older.
They wear me down. I don't watch them. So.
In regards to Warner, John Lynch didn't mention him by name, but he
I'll
did.
Just call John.
Yeah, I was going to say, we haven't got any news. I mean, we wish we had that power, but he did mention at the end of the interview with Sims that he says, we're hoping to get Brock done and we're talking to a couple more. And he also said with a smile on his face, there's been a knock on our spending and that we've tightened the purse strings. But by the end, we could be one of the highest spending teams again, which gave me confidence because it sounds as if there could be some more deals that we don't know about. Maybe they've decided, right, we've got rid of some of the free agents we didn't want. We've got this pot of money, as you say, Nadgy, to know what they've got. And once all these kind of deals are done, it sets them up, I think, anyway.
Yeah, and there's the Greenlaw money, because clearly we offer them almost as much as what Denver's giving him, right?
I thought we offered him more, but he wanted to go with
more,
Denver.
right? So we've got that chunk of cash, which we can spend on somebody else or somewhere else. I don't care about money. Is just, I use it as a tool to see where the team's going and the state of the team into next year. And you don't want to be like the Saints and those kind of teams that just kind of, or the Rams when they, sold out the entire team, although they're doing really well now. It doesn't really mean much. I don't care how much money we spend. It's not mine. And
I thought you were going to out yourself as a millionaire there, Nadgy, when you said money. I thought you were going to say all I use it for is toilet paper.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, really give it away.
So you mean the last 4 years, Lee, when we've all been putting our hands in the pocket for the subscription fees, and Nadgy's just like, yeah, lads, I could have just covered yourself.
I'm just waiting for the YouTube money, the 1 million subscriber. That's what.
So Connor has raised a good point there, Nadgy. If we haven't hired someone to hold him off the field, maybe he's mellowed, and as Kyle put there.
If we're going back to Connor's comment, I think there's a couple of key hire we haven't made yet, which is the only thing that really has me worried is the guy that keeps Sadio off the field and the boombox guy. Where's the boombox guy? That's I want to see who's that new guy because he's gone. I can't remember where. So
maybe he's gone to Washington with Debo.
That's it. Yeah, that's a question. They're going to have a fancy new stadium apparently. Good for them. I like it.
So Ty has dropped in there that Jed Yorker spent about $75 million in the past month, but he's been cheap. But it's just, we're at that strange time in the NFL calendar where the draft has been mini camp, the rookie camps around the corner, OTAs, and we've got, the biggest news we've got in the next 10 days is schedule release day, which I believe is 8 p.m. Eastern next Wednesday, which is about 1 in the morning for us. So
it is, but are we? Every single year, it always gets leaked by about 9 o'clock on the Wednesday night for us, doesn't it?
It's already been leaked already, hasn't it, according to Twitter? The Niners are coming over 10, 15 times I've seen on Twitter. It just depends on which week you want to watch them. But no, I know what you mean, Lee. But officially...
I reckon by 11 o'clock next Wednesday night, we will probably have 90% of our schedule leaked to us. And we're just waiting for that final confirmation.
Yeah. And
you always get
chance,
1 or 2 games that aren't quite right.
That's not quite right. That's right. There's a good chance we actually do get a game in the UK. Fingers crossed. Maybe that'll happen. So
yeah, I hope Matt Miyoko's wrong because that's who I've been hanging my hat on. If Matt Miyoko's wrong, I'll let him know. And at least he hasn't done a NFL UK big news coming, which was about the Formula One. At least Miyoko's been a bit consistent. But schedule release day is always fun because for us in the UK, you obviously see the people who are making plans to go to the States. So they're waiting to see if it aligns with their plans. For us who aren't making the trip across, you're looking for the 6 p.m. games so we can arrange our meetups. Then obviously Lee probably knows this already, Nadgy, but he hasn't shared it with anyone. The official meetup talk. And, we have to do a show where Lee's on his phone, and every time me or you were talking, and he picks that phone up, we're like, what's he doing? Who's he messaging?
I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say that I've had a couple of emails from the 49ers today.
Yeah, it's happening. It's happening. Yeah, that's what we're looking forward next week is the 9 o'clock game, the 6 o'clock game, which is quite important for and the Red Eyes, which I assume will have less this year. It's been like 3 or 4 years.
I really hope so.
Yeah, because last year was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Did we have 6, 5 or 6? We had the maximum, right? We had the maximum amount we could get. So
we definitely had 5. We may have had 6.
Yeah, I think the max is 6, right? I can't remember. We'll find out.
I think it is now because you get 2 Thursday night games.
Because you get 2, yeah, that's right. So yeah, that we'll break that down next week.
Yeah, I think we're still going to have a full complement of primetime games.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
yeah, I think
although we do have
5,
a weaker
6 Red Eyes.
We have a weaker schedule, so I think maybe some of those games won't be as attractive as last year.
What you might find though, compared with other years where we have been popular, so they wanted to show us on TV, if we don't have as many prime time games, and we hit the ground running at the start of the season and build up quite a lead, we'll start getting flexed left, right, and centre. Yeah. So not only does that cause a problem with people who are trying to book holidays after a red eye game, so that they can sit up and watch it all live, but anybody that goes across there now, because they can now flex into Thursday night football, that completely screws up your travel plans. For instance, I would normally travel out on Friday for a Sunday night game. That Sunday night game can now be flexed to the Thursday night. If that's flexed to the Thursday night at a fortnight's notice, then I'm screwed with my flights.
Yeah.
Because it's going to cost us an absolute fortune to try and go out earlier, but then I don't have the holidays booked, so I'm more than likely not going to be able to get out earlier. So it actually makes it harder for us from the UK or Europe, anywhere within Europe, to actually plan to go to a game. So I think to be safe, you have to go weeks 1 to 5, because I think the flexing of the Thursday night game doesn't start until week 5, does it?
That's right. Yeah, from week 6 onward, they can start flexing stuff. Yeah, the fact that they can do it almost a week the game happens is just ridiculous.
Richie, I've got some news for you, mate. Canton is quite the drive away from Cleveland. If you go on the public transport, I think the bus was something like 2 hours 40.
I mean,
there's no train direct from Cleveland to Canton. I think the easiest thing to do is to hire a car if you're going to do that. Because I looked at this, I think it was yesterday or the day before. I was looking at this going down. It was the day before. I was looking at potentially going to the Cleveland game because I thought, great, I can go to Canton. How cool would that be? And then I worked out, well, actually, that's difficult to get down there from there. It's not easy. So you can do it, but just be prepared to either have a trek on a bus, on a coach bus, or hire a car. So it's going to be expensive.
A few people are looking out for the Giants game.
Me too.
So Ian's put that there. Steve also, Primo's put there. That apparently, obviously, when the Niners are in New York, it's going to be obviously good for the ticket sales because we do travel well. Now, you're talking about schedule release and all the rest of it, chaps. Earlier today, I shared a post in the group about early expectations for the season. And I asked the UK faithful. Yeah, well, to be fair, Lee, the four choices were Super Bowl, conference champs, division champs, or not even make the playoffs. So A, B, C, or D. So if you're watching at home, drop your vote in the chat, and we will have a quick chat about it. Because I already knew what Lee was going to say, Nadgy.
Yeah, so... I mean, like, it's April. Well, it's May now.
Yeah, I'm allowed to say it. It's that early in the off-season. I'm allowed to say it. 20-0, baby.
20-0, all the way, always. Yeah, Super Bowl champs. We win it all the Thai years. There we go. Thai knows it.
Yeah. So the reason I'm sharing that, I dropped that this morning when I was travelling to Darlington on the train. So last time I checked, we'd had 9 votes on Discord. We'd had 57 votes on Facebook. So 50% of the vote is Super Bowl baby, which made me happy. 24% of the vote was division champions. 12% of the vote was conference champs. And 13% don't think we're making the playoffs at all. And
That's
the
really
post,
interesting.
I did think it was interesting, Nadgy. So
I wonder why people think that might be the case. I would genuinely like to hear why, at this stage of the season, you don't think we're going to win it all. It's just.
I can tell you the answer to that. I reckon I can tell you the answer to that. So
Go on.
I'm 20-4. I'm Super Bowl or bust, baby. I'm there. I think we're going to win it. Number 6 coming home. But I think the people who's probably saying we're not even going to make the playoffs are those who were so disappointed that we didn't take any O linemen in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah,
I
fair.
think that's it.
That's fair.
I think that's what it is. That's swayed them.
I mean, to be fair, I dropped that post on a Wednesday morning traveling to work. And what I've just said there, 56, 57 people have took the time to do a quick reaction. A few people did add comments in the chat on Facebook, Nadgy, which I thought was interesting. And it's just a testament to this community. We're in the off season. There's not much news. Yet people are saying, as Lee said there, they're coming with a valid discussion point. They've got their reasons. Now, I'm not here to shoot anyone's reasons down. I'm on the same page as Lee. I'm like 20-0, Super Bowl or bust. But Ty, they can't have been Seahawks or Rams fans because it was in our closed group. So if they are, they've got a double like Nadgy Karar because Nadgy's got his shared love for the Chargers. That's why we stay away from that. I'm joking.
Well, they're a good team.
To be fair, Lee, you mentioned running back earlier. That was on my notes. How are you feeling, Nadgy? Because we didn't take your crush in the draft.
I know. That's the problem I'm having, and the problem is Discord went all out on the whole Scatterbeer thing, and you always have a draft crush, and the chances of you drafting that one guy, like it was your post on Adebo a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
It's just like it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible that it happens. It's just too long of a shot. But yeah, no, it hurts a bit just purely because Discord would have gone absolutely mental if we picked him, and it would have been
did go
so
absolutely
good.
mental when we didn't pick him.
Yeah, that's true.
It was the funniest thing I'd seen in a long time.
That was pretty funny. We were all watching it together, and yeah, the reaction was kind of funny. But the whole season, every time he touched the ball, it would have been incredible to see and to be on the game day threads and all that. That would have been so much fun. But we go again next year.
Just makes this game even bigger because Chris Wood has taken the mantra of hating the Giants to such a level. If you're based in the southeast of England and you're a Giants fan and you go anywhere near Chris Woods, just be careful because he shared some anger in that Discord. But it does make that game a little bit more spicy than it needed to be. But when I was talking to Brad Graham the other week, Nadgy, he mentioned that Kaepernick was his draft crush heading in. Wow. And it was when he'd first started doing content creating. And he said that feeling of euphoria when your draft crush gets drafted to the Niners. And they said, obviously, then went on the Super Bowl run. And he said it was just unbelievable. And
it's cool.
Like you said, the vibes on Discord. I'm sure you'd have already had a jersey ordered by now if we'd taken Scatterball.
I had a page open. I was going to make a custom one, and I was going to wait for him to announce his number and get it. But yeah, it would have been very fun. I mean, but then it's like, okay, he comes to the Niners, and then what? Maybe he's not even that good. Maybe it doesn't translate to the NFL. There's so many, ways it could have gone wrong. I hate the Giants for doing this because they're going to ruin him. But yeah, we'll look forward to Fred destroying him. And Michael Williams destroying him, and Alfred Collins, and CJ West. So that's all that matters right now. So yeah.
The reason I mentioned merch, a few people are hoping that when the schedule release is announced, that the NFL rivalries merch that me and Lee talked about last week, Nadgy, they could drop some of that at the same time. A bit of a teaser because they've just obviously announced the press release of what it is, and the fact that we're one of the teams, but. I'm not going to lie, Nadgy. I'm excited for new merch. We all love merch on this side of the pond.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well,
I'll be more excited when we can buy from China.
Well, I mean, it'll be like within an hour.
Weeks.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. If you look at the NBA has been doing this for a while. This rivalry, city jersey, whatever they call them. Some of them are really cool. Some of them are pretty bad.
Yeah.
I just hope, knowing the Niners and they just don't really like changing the jersey all that much. I feel like we're gonna end up with a bad one. If I'm
I
being
agree.
honest.
I think it's going to be. I don't know. I've just got this awful feeling it's going to be dead garish.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just gonna be
Because
boring.
of where it is, San Francisco. The jersey's more likely going to be tie-dye colours or something like that.
I mean, that would be pretty cool. But yeah, I feel like we're gonna get. Just go have a look at the NBA. The NBA has been doing that for what 5-6 years, maybe a bit more. And have a look at city colors and color jerseys or whatever they call it there. Like I bought one from Miami for my girlfriend because she really liked it. It's like pink and blue. It's really cool. It's just we'll see. But my hopes are not too high.
Well, if you take the Golden State Warriors, some of their city jerseys, some of them have been really good. Some of them have been a bit questionable. But obviously there's the spin-off as well. There's the other merch, there's the hats, there's the hoodies.
Yeah.
The salute to service range, if it hits as good as that. Me and Lee talked about the crucial catch range a few years ago.
The crucial catch.
The whole month and that kind of stuff. So that gives me confidence. I mean, let's face it, there's a 50-50 chance it's either going to be amazing or it's going to be terrible. But you can guarantee no matter what it is, somebody on this side of the pond will be purchasing something. Mad rush to show off from the crew.
It'll be interesting to see if they actually alter the helmet.
Yeah. That's why I just don't think they will. It's just gonna be gold. There's just no way.
Well, I hope so. I hope it's only gold. I hope they don't touch the helmet. To be honest,
I don't know. Maybe a red helmet would be quite cool with a gold jersey.
Red helmet.
I don't know. Just try it. There's something new.
I mean, give the NFL the Colour Rush jerseys. We did all right out the Colour Rush ones. I mean, the Seahawks neon green were horrific. Ours were pretty good, and our throwbacks have been good. So you talk about them not wanting to change the jerseys up. It's just, as Kev's put there, let's hope it's not a half and half.
Imagine that green and red. Horrible stuff.
Yeah, the rivalry is you wear the other team's uniform and you just put the badge on it instead. That kind of stuff. But it is interesting.
Cool,
it's going to turn out to be something really ridiculous, like gold jerseys and red pants.
Yeah, that's what I think they might do. But even then, I think they might just go like full red with no white stripe or something. There's something that just doesn't really. Full gold. That'd be quite funny, to be fair.
Look like gold member.
So do you think the team will have any kind of say in the design process? Because obviously,
of course,
they've
got to have some sort of say.
It's a brand, isn't it? They're all franchise, they're all brands. They have very much have a say in what goes. Yeah, 100%.
It's just because if you look at when obviously the MLS, obviously they're similar to the MLS. Obviously, Nike has obviously all the teams. There's none of this like in soccer where there's different manufacturers. So there'll be a template. But like you said, I just think
Isn't the MLS part of one just big brand, and then the cities are franchising it's the MLS is the brand, and they're franchising the team, right? The teams aren't.
I've got some news for you. That's how the NFL's run. NFL is the brand. All the teams are franchises.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is there's no MLS team owners, right? There's just the MLS owners. I think it's a little different.
David Beckham owns Inter Miami.
There we go.
Okay.
We never thought we'd get MLS in Miami and David Beckman Tonight Show. But what I was meaning was, obviously, like your different teams over here, Puma, Adidas, Nike. There's all the different kind of manufacturers and teams change. Liverpool are going to Adidas from Nike. But Nike make all the NFL jerseys. And I just think the reason they've picked the Niners is we talk about this fantastic fan base, the fact that we travel, we spend money. We like our merch. Yeah. So it was surprise to me.
I think they chose it because it's supposed to be the rivals thing, isn't it? And there's just not much more rivalry than the West and in the AFC and the NFC. I think, Rams Niners, Seattle Niners, those games like Denver Chiefs, that kind of stuff is just very much engrossed in people's. The NFC West has been.
To be honest, I wouldn't mind if they bring back the black uniforms, but this time,
that would be cool.
Put the gold piping around the red letters. Because that was the only thing that was missing on those uniforms.
Yeah,
I
that's
did
just
like the
really
black
cool.
jersey. I don't have mine anymore. It doesn't fit anymore, so I donated mine to Chip Eplow. But let's have a look what Ty Olsen's put there. 49ers
Oh, are
fans.
we now? Are we actually?
We've
Red
noticed.
Sales.
We've noticed,
Yeah.
Ty.
And Richie has joined. Be more open-mindedly. Now, we do like to keep the show to about an hour. So we're only 50 minutes in. So don't worry, chaps. We're not finishing just yet. But as we are unscripted tonight, was there anything that you two had a burning desire to talk about?
I wanted to claim my player watch of the year right now.
Oh, without Gareth Ellis being here, that is bold.
Shit,
Go on then, Nadgy.
I can't do that without Gareth. I can't do that.
Just drop some hints. I'm not going to tell
it's
you.
kind of obvious. It's kind of obvious, I think. I tell you what, I'll leave it open if people can vote. I know who I'm going to pick. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but you know.
Yes, I think a matte black helmet
With a gold trim.
Yeah, with gold trim. That would look good.
Cool.
Well,
yeah, that would be pretty cool. So you know how the Stanford have a black helmet, which is matte black.
Yeah.
I think that really works.
It does. Yeah, nice.
I knew we'd get a Stanford reference. And I was going to say, Nadgy, you have given us a good idea for next week, though, if there's no topic. Your Player Watch episode where we all have to come.
We could do that. I mean, it's
talk
very
about
early.
Player Watch. It is very early. You seem to have your heart set on someone. So
I have indeed.
But was there anything else other than Player Watch then, Nadgy, that you wanted to talk about? Or have we kind of stolen your thunder? Lee, was there anything you wanted to talk about?
Oh, actually, sorry. I was going to say, maybe... Ty. Got me right there. Well, you know, Tabor was friend of the show. Where is the cat? That's a very good question.
See, Nadgy, you've got to give the people what they want. You can't just tease us one week and then not the next.
She's not here. I think she's buried off somewhere. Oh, John's onto something. No, I was going to say, since we are coming to schedule and we do cater for the UK audience, we do have, I think, 2 or 3 podcasts about San Francisco and going over there and where to stay, where to eat, where to go, what to see, how to get there, how to get to the game, because it's not that easy, all that kind of stuff. We could always do a live refresher if people have got questions. They could just put them here and we can answer, kind of thing. But I think
that's a really good idea to have a live show, and then you can take the questions as they come in. You can take
the questions in. We could do that maybe before schedule release next week or after, when people have started making plans.
Yeah, after, exactly. That would
makes sense. But if, in the meantime, if you want to start making plans, if you want ideas, all 3 of us and Gareth have been to San Francisco several times. And so we've all put all our heads together. And I think we got 3. I think we did 2 1 year, like episode 1, episode 2. And then the next year, the year after that, we did kind of like a refresher, like a big long episodes. If you go on our, podcast, wherever you get your podcast, and search for it, cannot remember what it's called exactly, the title. There'll be San Francisco in there, which doesn't help, I know. But
to be fair, I do think it was either travel tips to San Francisco or traveling too, because I remember when we recorded, I hadn't been, so I hosted. And I remember finishing that episode and said to Tracy, this is amazing, I need to go. And everything you talked about, you took me to when we went. So I was like,
that's right, that's true.
So that must have been at least the season before 2023.
Yeah, it was definitely before, because I think we did a podcast. It was that well received. We did another one, and I think it was before we did the live, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's at the time where we didn't do lives, we just did podcast, and it was kind of like we did it in May or something when there was nothing going on. But yeah, go and check it out. And if you have any questions, obviously it has up on either Facebook or Discord. Thank you, Ty. I'll take the 5 points.
I'm in the lead. Slytherin.
I love that.
I was going to say it's towards the trophy. Remember the tiebreak at the end of the season. Where's those 5 points come from? And Ty Olsen's like, there you go, Nadgy.
But yeah, we'll probably do that. So if you have questions, prepare them, and we'll do a live and you can ask.
So here's a question for you guys. So obviously the schedule comes out next week. We are guaranteed some 6:00 games. Out of any city in the UK to host a watch party, which one would you like to see?
I always kind of want it to be somewhere central so we can get the most people. But I feel like down south near the beach would be nice.
Near the beach?
Yeah, Brighton, Bournemouth. Bournemouth's too far away.
Southampton?
Southampton. That's good.
Yeah, I like that.
But as I said, if I were to choose, I'll choose the centralist point. Like what, Leicester, Nottingham,
Leeds.
something like that.
We've had this conversation a million times. Leeds is smack bang in the centre of the UK.
We know what he's trying to say,
exactly.
Kev. He's just trying to be nice about it. I'm joking. For those people who don't know, Nadgy is based Manchester, so no,
20 minutes that way. Yeah, I just anywhere as long as we're all together is good. But yeah, the more Leeds, the Leeds Super Bowl. How many people are there? That's so good. I mean,
400.
Yeah, near the beach. What's wrong with
in
that?
December. There's a beach at Redcar, but we don't want to have a Super Bowl.
Yeah, we're not doing. I do feel like Newcastle would be a good city. Newcastle is a good night out. So.
To be honest, yeah, for an official watch party, that's not a bad shout, you know.
Yeah,
got a
I've
Hooters
always
there
had
now.
a good time in Newcastle. So.
See, I don't know. I like your idea, Nadgy. Part of me feels like maybe another major city like Cardiff that we haven't been to before, or Glasgow, or
Glasgow would be
somewhere like.
as well.
I think if we had
I
another
think
one
Glasgow would cause us issues, if I'm honest.
Now, yes. Now we
Yes.
probably would.
I think last year we'd have been fine. This year, I think it's going to cause us
it's
issues.
Yeah, sorry, Colin. I know it's pretty far away. We might as well just fly. Let's fly to
Edinburgh.
Brighton.
Edinburgh, Scotland. I'm just trying to think. I mean, obviously we've done London.
Falkirk.
Yeah, the Candlestick Inn.
We'll have it at the Mankini.
I don't think we can get 400 people in there.
See, if you answer this question, given that you've said you've already had emails, people are going to put two and two together and be like, Lee Gowland has said this city, so this is where it's going to be.
Yes. Yes is the answer to that. I can see a Glasgow one happening.
Where's Glasgow Beach
which is why I'm saying, because of that, I don't think that would end well.
Yeah, that's
because of the intense hatred between Rangers and Celtic fans. I know I would feel uncomfortable walking around Glasgow in a 49ers jersey now.
Yeah,
because you're identifying yourself.
Yeah,
rightly or wrongly, you are identifying yourself with a particular religion within Glasgow.
Yeah, that's true. It's unfortunately, some people won't see past it, even though we don't really care. But yeah,
I'm going to say that, I'm like you. I don't do English football, so when the Leeds connection came in, it didn't bother me. And I do remember the first official watch party down at Leeds, and we got off the train and we were all in our red jerseys, and some of the station staff were kind of not alluding to Manchester United connections, but we kind of laughed off, the big numbers, San Francisco. And even in the box, I remember they had Jermaine Beckford and the lass who presents Emma, and the Leeds fans were singing all the Man United songs. And I was like, it's lost on me, this. I'm a 49ers fan. I'm here to watch 49ers games. So to kind of circle back, I would be very disappointed if we had something up there and it was lost on what it was. It was kind of taken over for something else, which isn't what we want. We don't get very many of these games a year. We don't get very many meetups. So for it to be taken over by football would be disappointing.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think it's unfortunate that we have to have this conversation because
it is, but
it's not the San Francisco 49ers that are buying into Glasgow Rangers. It's not the San Francisco 49ers that bought into Leeds United. No. It's a completely separate company called 49ers Enterprises that just so happens to have people involved with the San Francisco 49ers, but also a whole load of other people that have nothing to do with the San Francisco 49ers. They've just decided to call it the 49er Enterprises because of the three original people who set up that particular company.
I know
the two are not linked. Yeah, the two are not linked. Whatever revenue goes to the 49ers goes to the 49ers. Whatever's spent on Leeds or Glasgow does not impact the 49ers in the slightest. No. All that money goes to the board members of 49er Enterprises.
it is the country we live in where people and hooliganism was a thing, and it's kind of
Still is
a thing.
Still is to some extent.
To some extent, so we have to, we have to take it, unfortunately. But yeah, I personally don't care. It's Rangers.
Stuff.
John's just mentioned something. While I look for something that I've just thrown on the floor right now, I can stay there. I can't be bothered to bend down. I'll never get back up. So John's just mentioned something. He's in Glasgow. I would love to see a meet in Glasgow. However, if you get a couple of hundred people, sorry, not Glasgow, Belfast. If you get a couple of hundred people walking around Belfast with a big SF on them, I know from experience, people misunderstand what that SF stands for.
Yeah. Even though the colours are not.
Really strange looks.
Especially with our flag. But I mean, when I mentioned to you guys about the conversation, believe it or not, it was some of our American content creators that were worrying that Leeds United had got promoted to the Premier League and that was going to impact on the spending of the 49ers. And obviously it was a slow news day the other day when I was on Twitter and I was responding saying, like what you've just said there, Lee, it doesn't impact. I mean, I haven't had conversations, Nadgy, with any Leeds fan who said, oh my God, George Kittle signs a new contract. That means we can't sign anyone in the Premier League.
No,
it's not happening. So
now this I'm
Thomas,
on board with.
I was over in Copenhagen 3-4 weeks ago.
I love Copenhagen.
And that's a good idea. A little bit expensive, but yeah, that's a good idea.
Great city.
If we can find somewhere down the New Hound that's big enough to host the watch party, that would be good. But yeah, Copenhagen's nice.
And if we do get across to Denmark, we'd have to do a collab. We'd have to do a pod. I know the 49ers Denmark have started their own YouTube channel. And again, going back what you just said there, Lee. So the 49ers Enterprises has Will Ferrell, Gordon Spieth, Justin Thomas, all people who have nothing to do with the Niners. But as Kev Williams has put there, maybe this is a good place to finish the talk. Early talk of watch party. With all these issues, Nadgy, it just has to be Manchester.
To be completely honest, and I not because I live here, but I do think like if it was to happen in Manchester, it would probably be exceptionally good because it's just a good city to do things in general.
Yeah, I mean we've already had 3 meetups in Manchester. We enjoyed it. We think it's a great place. I'm not sure how that would go down with their Leeds fans.
Oh, whatever. Whatever.
We'll
do it closer to
it doesn't bother me.
City ground, and then they won't have to worry about.
Just Ty asked the question there. We don't know. We don't know.
It's hard to say. I wore some Niners gear in Seattle and I felt pretty comfortable. I'm not sure I would in Glasgow now. I don't think I would wear my bubble hat.
When the takeover was announced, we lost members in the double figures.
Yeah, we did lose people.
Yeah, people left because of it.
It was in the double figures. People left saying, not going to have anything to do with the 49ers anymore because of the involvement within Glasgow. So these were people who didn't understand there's a difference between the San Francisco 49ers and 49er Enterprises. But it obviously had an impact. Now, that impact is going to be seen on the street within Glasgow to people that don't understand, don't want to understand. They've already made up their mind what this means. So is it safe to wear Niners in Glasgow? It remains to be seen.
I think if
I would err on the side of caution by not wearing any.
I think if you know where
indiscreet,
where the Rangers and the Celtic lines are within the city, then if you stay on the blue side, then you'll be totally fine. Because there is very segregated, and there is places which are Celtic, and there's places which are Rangers. So if you know and you stay within the Rangers area, I think you'll be fine. But if you don't know and you walk into a pub,
there's some places in Glasgow, Ty, it's not safe to wear any clothing.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great city, but it's you have to.
I was going to say before we finish off, the reason I mentioned Glasgow before this, I went to the Super Bowl watch party for Super Bowl 50 up there at Committee Rooms number 9. And it was unbelievable. And like you said, Lee, we've had the meetups in Manchester.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Every single one I've been to has got better. So I don't know. But as Kev said, wherever it is, I know I'm going to be there. I've already started saving the money. I won't be making the trip across to the States this year, but I'm definitely going to be going. And I would rather be wherever Nadgy Carrara is, Richard. Come on, let's face it. That's what
I was
the
going to say,
Bayfront
Richard,
Why in
Nadgy
December,
Carrara gives the best hugs ever. He would keep you warm.
There you go. There you go, Rich.
And to be fair, Ty, I wouldn't be on the
Yeah, so do I.
volunteer. Now, if only we knew a member in the group who was an expert in something called Krav Maga, maybe who lives close to Glasgow, and we can send him on a test drive. What do you reckon, Lee?
He won't make it.
He would turn around and say, "You're on your own, Paul." Just like he did to me at the Falkirk Dumbarton game when Dumbarton scored, and I was sat in the Falkirk end cheering because I misinterpreted who was who on the field.
I mean, to be fair, Brett, you probably drive down to Darlington, and that's an in-joke from last year when you threatened to drive to Darlington, even though I've lived in Middlesbrough for a good 5 years now. But, you know, Brett, we love you. We're joking. Anything else, chaps? Because we have hit our mark. We are approaching the end of the show.
It's been good.
You got any final thoughts, Lee?
I don't think we went down too many rabbit holes today.
I mean,
I think it worked well. Yeah, I think it worked well. What I would say is, whoever said it, I can't remember who said. Oh, it was Leanne Klein. It has been a long off season. It has been so long. It feels as it's already been a year and a half since we last saw the Niners play. I hope this starts to speed up a bit more. I think for the next 4 to 6 weeks, it's going to drag over a little bit.
Yeah.
But as you get closer to training camp, that excitement builds.
Yeah.
And before we know it, we're going to be back playing football. We're going to be watching it. And I think this all starts next Wednesday. Once we get an idea of who we play and when we play in them. Obviously, the London games, keep an eye out early next week, Monday or Tuesday, because they are always advertised a couple of days beforehand. So it could be us.
There is the possibility. I mean, when you guests come on the show, Nadgy, and they say, "Oh, so you're going to go on the live? What we're going to talk about?" And they say, "Oh, we try to keep it a bit fluid. We try not to have too much prep." Tonight, we took that to the extreme because we had nothing prepared, and I don't think we went down too many rabbit holes, as you said, Lee. I do want to say thank you to the chat. You were epic as always. As we said at the start, please do like this video. Do subscribe to the channel. Tell all your friends about us. And keep those notifications switched on because we aren't going anywhere. We will be back to talk all things 49ers. Not quite sure, Lee, whether it will be a pod or a live or both. What do you reckon next week? Yeah. Could be room for both.
A pod, a live, or both, neither. You know, you're so optimistic, Paul. I mean, you think the people in the chat's got friends. They're sat here on a Wednesday night watching us. How could they have friends if they're sat watching us?
No,
it
Lee.
doesn't work out.
Doesn't really feel good, the next bit where I say we really appreciate it, and if you're watching the show back, please do leave a comment. It does help with the algorithm, and
we are constantly amazed.
Yeah,
we are constantly amazed. Any final thoughts, Nadgy, while I load the video up?
No, this has been fun. We should do this more often and just ramble about.
Can't wait to meet up with you all next season.
Oh yeah,
everybody in the chat, you guys,
too many,
and people I've never even met yet. Can't wait.
It's gonna be great.
Well, people, as we said, we will be back next week. Topic and guests to be confirmed. And all that is left for me to say is remember, trust the process and go Niners.
Go Niners.
Bang, bang, Niner gang.
We love the San Francisco 49ers deep in the heart. Like Joe Montana in the corner, deep Clark.